Hello there. Oh boy. The internets. I believe we are back. There's 1 day left now until we can play this game. And not just theorize and pretend like we know what's best or not. Which is kind of hilarious because it's interesting to see people doing tier lists, and apparently the ascendancy I want to play is the worst, so I'm looking forward to that. Should be fun. It's one of the worst apparently. We'll see. I think it will be fun though. Yeah, I found some stuff that I want to look at. This is kind of crazy. So Kay is back. If you play PoE1, you probably know who this is. She used to do a lot of summoner builds and guides and stuff. So she posted her starter build. So I'm very interested to see what this is. This is 2 minutes long. And then Grimro posted, he's also back, his starter, and it's like 10 times the length, which is hilarious. So I guess it's gonna talk a lot about stuff that you could probably skip most of the things, but very interested to see. I see Deadeye. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think he's gonna play Deadeye. I think there's other stuff he probably wants to play. So yeah. And then I found this. There's so many interviews. This is one, I have no idea what it is. Apparently it's one of the newest ones. It's got very interesting chapters, so I don't know, we'll check it out, I guess, see what it is. And it's not long either, which is nice. So yeah, I wanna start with this because we got 2 content creators posting videos, and they haven't posted anything in a while, so it should be interesting. A bit loud. Okay, should be good. Baby.
Hi everyone, it's Kay.
Hey, she's
I
back.
haven't posted anything in a while,
Yeah.
but I'm definitely coming back for PoE 2.
Nice.
I even logged into PoE 1 to warm up.
Nice.
My
Okay.
plan for PoE
Console.
2 is to focus on specters because they've always been my favorite minion.
This is a bind spectre gem. Using it, I can take the body of any enemy and capture its spirit so that I can keep
Well,
it
that's
as a
gonna
minion.
work.
Any monster
Like
can
a
be
pure
captured,
one?
but the spirit cost depends on how powerful the monster is.
Oh, that's
I
the old
thought
video.
There were
Wow.
lots of interesting monsters in the reveal, so I hope we can make a good pure specters build again. But I'm not really sure about the 2 witch ascendancies. The blood mage doesn't seem like it's really about minions, and the infernalist seems like she matches with fire minions. So I was thinking the sorceress might be better for cold or lightning specters.
Stormweaver,
Going
yeah.
deeper into the tree, you can make all your
That actually makes sense because when you look at the gems, I believe you can get like Frost Mage and Shock Mage, I think they're called. So this is probably the better ascendancy. I mean, it depends on what spectre she's gonna run, so
which types apply shock. Make a shock
should be
build with any
interesting.
skill.
I can't wait to see what she does.
Or even the mercenary for physical specters.
Oh.
If I come across an armored enemy, I can use
Oh.
armor piercing rounds to break their armor and then
Anyway,
You could play like a mercenary and then like have your pet spectre basically, like physical damage. Okay.
I'll start with the witch
Interesting.
and post updates on my progress. Okay, I hope we all have a fun time in early access. Thanks for watching, bye!
Kind of crazy
while
case
fighting
back.
monsters in the trial, you will need to be very careful. Each hit will not only hurt
This
you,
fight is so
but will
cool. That
damage your
effect is bad.
Each floor has its own challenging rooms and a floor boss that you will need to kill.
Bye! Have a fun time. Post updates on my progress. I'll start with the witch and post updates on my progress.
Okay. She will start with a witch. That's interesting. Like I said, it heavily depends on what spectre she wants to use, I guess. Yeah, if you run the mages, you probably want to do sorceress, I guess. That makes sense. You can have the frost and lightning damage from your ascendancy. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to see what she comes out with. I love watching her videos back in the day, so that's nice. Alright. Now, to the guy who likes to talk a lot, and it's not me, which is crazy. Let's see what he's doing. There's no way he's playing this, right?
Yo, what is up guys? Grim here, and in today's video I want to share with you guys my plans for PoE 2, specifically what I plan to start, with a focus on ascendancies and some cool interactions.
Okay.
But before that, of course, the elephant in the room. It's been a while since I've posted last, and as I'm sure some of you guys know or have theorized, I'm no longer a full-time content creator, and my living is made in a far less stressful manner and in a more traditional way, which I'm very happy with.
Yeah, it sounds great.
That said, distance does make the heart grow fonder, and I've got an itch to get back into making cool content like I originally did at the very start of my journey in PoE 1. With the recent PoE 2, I figured, now's the time.
There's no Legion this time, so you're not playing this, right?
Get back in and see if I can get my passion back and, have a whole lot of fun once again. But time away has given me the opportunity to look at the content I made and realize, some of it really wasn't that great. With that said, though, some of it I actually do think was genuinely helpful. To keep it simple, the plan is to double down on the helpful stuff and get rid of the not so great stuff. So here's pretty much what you can expect.
That sounds good.
You guys can expect frequent discovery videos, kind of akin to my usual daily league mechanic videos I've done in the past.
Yeah, I like those.
The very first PoE 2 video you guys can expect from me is a day 1 discoveries video. Gonna do a big 24-hour play session, and you guys are gonna learn everything I learn, and the people I'm playing with, you guys are gonna learn everything that we learn.
That play session will be like what, server queue most of the time? Can't wait to stream and wait in queue. It's gonna be great.
And hopefully there's gonna be some super duper awesome useful stuff in there, and it'll give you guys the leg up if you're interested in that. We're also going to do a bit of a focus on solving, testing, and providing meaningful insights into mechanics and hopefully even builds. So I want to apply the league mechanic mindset to pretty much everything we do, and make sure that it's all super useful and helpful and worth watching.
Interesting.
And lastly, I also want to really focus on elevating community members wherever I can. I got my start on YouTube and ended up where I did through a very good friend of mine, Taki Cat. He's gone now as well, but I want to hopefully try and give that opportunity to
I haven't seen him in a while.
Can, while also, giving recognition where recognition is due, because I think that's a really big thing in the PoE community, and I absolutely have no problems giving all of that recognition to whoever it deserves. So if you got a cool idea, or you got a really cool build and you want it covered, let me know, and I'm more than happy to shout you out. Now, on the other side of things, you can expect less of a blind focus on currency per hour in my videos in general. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be, optimizing mechanics, presenting really cool strategies and all sorts of stuff like that.
Is he going to focus on fun? Because I don't think you can have fun in games. That's not allowed.
I just don't want to go down the currency rabbit hole again. That is pretty much responsible for why I think I don't really have that much fun playing PoE 1 anymore, and why I initially left, altogether. Reducing everything to a divine per hour number really does limit the fun in the game, at least for me. I ended up
optimize the fun out of the game.
I believed it was the best, whether that's true or not. I pretty much only farmed what I consider the best farming strategies, and I basically optimized the fun out of the game for myself.
There you go.
We'll still do the min-max, we'll still go really hard, but not going to be focusing purely on currency anymore. So don't ever expect to see divines per hour or chaos per hour in any of my titles pretty much ever again. We'll still be going hard on the optimization. We'll do
fine with that.
Comparisons and all sorts of stuff like that, just not pure currency focus. The other two things here, the first is no more gloating. I look at the titles and I shake my head in shame. No more how I farmed Headhunter or how I farmed Mage Blood. And by the way, you can't do the strategy I did because I now posted a video and you guys can't make the money I did anymore. We're not going to do that anymore. We'll just be farming. We'll just be sharing discoveries and cool stuff. None of that.
Farm discoveries.
And also, we're not going to do any sensationalism or complaining. No, this is the new most broken item. No more of the kind of like, oh, the league sucks. No more of that. We're not going
I mean, there's a lot of clickbaiting already. It's crazy.
to do that anymore. Only positive stuff, only cool stuff on the channel. And that about covers it. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff. What I am planning on starting. So I'm sure a lot of you are expecting the Deadeye, Tornado Shot, or at the very
No,
least a
never.
bow. Well, no, we're not going to be going for
Thank
any
God.
of those. We're instead going to be going for the Blood Mage. Now, why am I choosing a Blood Mage? Well, right now, we don't have a whole lot of information. Pretty much the only thing which is reliable and that we can go off is the ascendancies themselves. A good character in PoE 1 is made up of items which have modifiers, uniques, skill gems, interactions between all of those things, and the passive tree. Now, we know basically none of those reliably. GGG is infamous for making changes right up until the last second, and I would fully expect pretty much
This is something I've noticed. Like, obviously we're using the information we have, but I've seen a lot of content creators are like, this is gonna be like broken, it's gonna be OP, it's gonna be like, it's like, yeah, this is stuff that is pre-launch. Like, they already did nerf some things in his indices before they actually posted them. So I mean, sure, there will be broken stuff, but you can't just rely on them being 100% accurate before it's launched.
everything with the exception of the ascendancies to be touched or changed in some way, shape, or form. So all the leaks, while they do give you an idea of what might be coming, I don't think that they're wholly reliable. I definitely don't want to theory craft my whole build around them. So I'm just going purely off the ascendancies.
Alright.
Now with that said, I do think there's some cool things from the leaks which we can take a look at, which we'll get to afterwards, but we're mainly going to be talking about the ascendancy. So, what does the Blood Mage bring to the table? Well, first, we need to understand two big things about PoE 2 compared to PoE 1, at least for me. Now, the first of those is that PoE 2, there's no second chances, man. There's only one shot, baby.
Yeah.
In PoE 1, you had 6 portals, the infamous 6 layers of defense.
The only one you needed, man.
You can just relax, because you've got 6 shots at that bad boy. If you invested a ton of money, chances are you're going to be able to kill it, you're going to be able to get the loot, because all those 6 chances, you know, you can't mess up that many times with a good build. You're going to get it done.
Yeah.
Same goes for maps. You know, you get unlucky 5 times, most likely you're going to get it on the 6th. PoE 2, a 1 chance. You get unlucky once, you take 1 stray hit, you miss a dodge once, it's gone. So if you invested a ton of money in a boss key to, you know, get your progression a bit further.
I do like that change, though.
Bosses for money. Losing that one boss is a big hit. It's going to set your progression back, or it's going to hurt your profits if you're bossing for profit. So really, really...
One thing I thought of is, if you fail a boss map, does the boss move to a new one? I mean, you have more on the Atlas, but... Or maybe it just like removes that boss and then you can't find it anywhere.
Don't want to be subject to that myself. And it's the same situation for maps as well. Let's say you set up a juicy map, you put all of the investment in there, you know, you might even have loot on the floor. Boom! Out of nowhere. A rare, just bah! Straight out of nowhere, man. Gets you. All that loot on the map is gone.
Off-screened, man.
Oh, man, I can't even imagine the feeling. So I knew I had to play a tanky build. Now, what is a tanky build? Well, at least in PoE 1, you want it to have a huge HP pool, whether that's a combination of life, you know, mana with mind over matter, energy shield, anything like that. You want to have a big buffer zone, and you know, I think the Blood Mage can help with that. You also want to have a big effective health pool. You want to have armor, you want max res, you want block if you can get it, you want, you know, evasion if you ideally can get it, you know, maybe you can't get that, but I want to have access to as many of those things as possible. And I do think the Witch does have some pretty good options when it comes to that as well, specifically the Blood Mage. And then finally, the most important one of all, for me at least, was the ability to recover.
Yeah,
you know, when you take a huge hit from a boss, you want your life.
Just don't get hit, man. Is he planning on getting hit all the time? I don't understand.
Life to come straight back as fast as possible. You don't want to be like, you know, messing around with really slow regen and then you take another hit and you die. You don't want to be running away, you know, hoping for your energy shield to recharge. You don't ideally want that. You just want to be able to straight back up, man, and you just they're ready for the next hit.
I honestly think that's why Monk is probably gonna be, or Chunk, the Chayula one, is gonna be very strong, and Monk is so agile, so probably gonna be popular. Same with Merc is gonna be insane.
Which hopefully, you know, doesn't kill you. That's the idea. And I think that all 3 of those, you know, Blood Mage kind of fits the bill. Now, in addition to that, the second reason which I've got there
All right.
is that PoE2 looks a lot more bossing focused, at least on the first playthrough. You know, you got your campaign that's 50 times 2, 100 bosses there, which you got to get through. But also in endgame, it does seem like there's a massive emphasis on bossing. To get all of your Atlas points to, you know, get the maximum juice on.
I mean, I agree with this, but at the same time, you don't have bosses every map. So, yeah, there are a few bosses in campaign. It's kind of crazy.
Your maps, so even if you wanted to play a mapper, you definitely want those. You have to kill 4 bosses or boss-like encounters per mechanic. So you have to do 4 simulacrums, 4 breach stones with the pinnacle boss at the end, 4, I don't know what the one for the other ones is, but you know, 4 of each of them. And they all did seem pretty bossing focused.
Expedition.
So that's another reason for me to go Blood Mage, because I do
Ritual.
think this can be a bosser, and I will be playing it with the intent that it's a bosser.
Okay.
So we're not going to be going for movement speed, we're not going to be worrying about clear speed, we are going in with the intent to slay those bosses. We're going to get them down. I don't want to be relying on other people.
I wonder what skills he's going to
I want
use.
to do them myself. Want to get them dead, and you know, maybe we can even help some other people out, and maybe we can make a better profit off that as well. We'll have to see. All right. So how does the Blood Mage specifically contribute to all of those things? And you know, why did I pick it? Well, the most important node on the entirety of the ascendancy, for me at least, was Vitality Siphon.
It's pretty good.
So Vitality Siphon states 10% of your spell damage leached as life. Now, you guys didn't know Leech in PoE2 works a bit differently than PoE1. Not going to go into the full details here. Dream Core has a very good video on it, so I definitely recommend going and checking that out. But it's fair to say it's a lot more powerful in PoE2. Now, the trade-off here is that in PoE2, it's far more limited. There is very, very few sources of this. And the sources we have seen so far, and the devs have referred to as definitely going to be in the game, are all physical attack-based leech, which isn't something that a spellcaster can have access to, and quite frankly, is not something many characters can have access to. You know, it's pretty specific, and the numbers that they have shown so far of those leech amounts is definitely not as high as what we're seeing here, at least so far. You know, it could be different. Who knows? So that definitely is a
we don't know the whole passive tree.
You know, there is a very high chance that you can, you know, hit an enemy with a ton of DPS and just watch your life go straight back up. Now, we don't know exactly if that'll be the case. There is just so many factors at play, but I'm gambling it will be the case.
You also have
now,
recoup.
Don't get me wrong, it's a gamble.
So,
You need to have enough damage, and you have to make sure that a bunch of other things are going your way, but there is a chance that Leech will be incredibly powerful in PoE2, and it will fulfill that recovery requirement I wanted, and basically allow me to take a hit.
As long as it's not needed, you know,
which would be incredible.
like necessary.
So that is the driving force behind the Blood Mage for me. Vitality Siphon. If Leech sucks, there's a very high chance I'm heading back to the beach. But if it doesn't, you know, this might be one of the best ascendancies that I could have chosen.
I mean, if Poison sucks and Pathfinder sucks, I'll guess I'll try my Chronomancer Death's Oath build or something. I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
So that's the biggest reason I'm choosing Blood Mage. Now, there's another reason I'm choosing Blood Mage though, and that is Grasping Wounds. I want to be tanky, I want to be able to take those big hits, and Grasping Wounds helps with that. 25% of all of the hits that you take towards your life will be mitigated and dealt to you over 4 seconds. That's what this passive does. It's basically the same effect as Progenesis in PoE1, one of the best items of all time. So this is without a doubt a very strong node.
Wait, there's another ascendancy that has Riku life, and then you have another node that lowers it to 4 seconds or something. So it's is it like, I think it's worse than this one? I'm not sure.
And the downside of it can be pretty much completely omitted by our Leech if it works. So the idea would be, boom, big hit, 25% of that is burning off of you, but because you're leeching so hard, you've fully mitigated it. So, I mean, you could kind of treat it as a pseudo 25% damage reduction. It's not really, but you know.
Imagine that overflowing. If you can leech overflow, holy crap. That's going to be nuts.
And then, of course, we do have some damage scaling as well, which is nice. Nothing crazy. I think some of the other ascendancies get some better stuff, but, you know, it's definitely not bad. You know, we get to scale crit damage based on life, so I wanted to go tanky anyway. We get damage for that.
Life stacker.
And we also have the chance to get cement base crit if we want to go for that, but it would be at the cost of Grasping Wounds, so we probably won't go in that direction. But it's there if we want to take it and we want to use it. So that's kind of the Blood Mage ascendancy there. So we're mainly going for the Leech, we're mainly going for the big hit protection, and we do have some damage. But there is, unfortunately, a big downside to the Blood Mage, which we have to talk about.
It's the first point. Yeah.
Sanguimancy is a node which every blood mage has to take.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you guys watch the reveal, you guys know exactly what it does. It basically adds an additional cost to all of your abilities, and that cost will be in life instead of mana. Basically doubles the cost of your abilities, but split between the two resources. Now, the payoff of this is that you will spawn a bunch of little life remnants whenever you kill enemies or you critically strike bosses, and these life remnants will heal you. Now, they also have a new mechanic on them called Overleech. So if you're already at full life, you have 3,000, and you pick up an orb which theoretically could heal you for 3,000, you'd be able to overfill your life to double its total value. So
I like that. It's pretty cool.
Fill it to 6,000 by picking up that orb. So it's basically double life if you can manage to pick up enough orbs while not taking any damage. Now, that sounds very strong on paper, especially because it could work very nicely with your Gore Spike and give you even more crit damage bonus potentially. But the reality is, I don't think I'm going to be picking Life Remnants up.
Wait, it's Thursday today, right? Yeah, it is. The preload starts today, I just realized. Okay, I'm going to check out the stream. But remember, preloading starts today, so make sure to do that, because I think it's a pretty big game, big download.
I don't think I'm even going to go for them at all. I'm going to discount this as just a little bit of flavor. So this node for me is pretty much a straight downside. Now, because of that, I'm not going to be clicking this. I am basically going to go through the story without a very first ascendancy until I get to the second one, where I'll take both of them at once, because I don't want to be
that is actually very smart, yeah.
In the story, because I just think it's going to be crippling on the story front, because you're going to be taking damage constantly while you're trying to cast, and there's pretty much no upside because you're not going to have a very high crit rate in the story, I don't imagine.
That's a good point, yeah. If you go Blood Mage and you can't sustain this in a good way, like literally don't spend any points in the beginning. Wait until you have like 4 ascendancy points. That's actually so weird, but yeah. Makes sense.
We're going to be taking that much later in the story when we get Vitality Siphon, but it's entirely possible. I just won't take any ascendancy until I get to endgame, when I have a good amount of life leech available to me through damage, and also a big life total to hopefully get some stuff going from Gore Spike. Probably that's going to be what I'm going to go for. So that is the Blood Mage. That is why I'm going for it, and those are all the reasons I'm after. As a bit of a bonus, I figured I'd throw in some elite theory crafting here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, most of this stuff
I haven't looked at these,
so don't put too much stock in it. But the very first one here is a chess piece, which grants us the
you can apply an additional curse ring? Oh god, okay, well.
overflow mechanic, but from Life Leech. Now, that means we don't have to play the life minigame and can still potentially double our life.
This is literally what I said, right? What if you can overflow with Life Leech? Well, there you go. Maybe it's on the passive tree as well, but that is pretty sick.
Pool, but it does come with a downside of 25%.
25?
It does seem very strong, doubling our life, but with the downside, lose a chess piece. Not sure if it's worth it, but definitely one to keep an eye on.
Seems
Next
cool,
up
yeah.
is a candidate for a potential main skill, Eye of Winter here. It's got a big base crit chance here, which is important for Blood Mage. I'm wanting to go crit stacking, but it also inflicts critical weakness on hit, which could be potentially very strong.
Yeah.
Critical weakness is a debuff that you can stack up to 20 times on enemies, and every stack of it makes it so you have 0.5% base crit chance against that enemy. So it goes up to 10% there, which theoretically would make this a 22% base crit chance spell, which also carries 10%.
It's gonna be good on bosses, right?
As well, which would be very, very strong for the crit archetype here. Now, 20 stacks sounds like a lot, but Eye of Winter in PoE 1 hits a ton of times if you aim it just right. And I'm hoping it does work that way in PoE 2 as well. Now, on top of this, it is a projectile skill, and it also gains extra effects when it passes over elemental ground. We don't know what those effects really are yet. Hopefully it's more damage, but it definitely does have some synergies there as well.
I think elemental ground is like, like shocked ground where they take more damage, or like frozen, and like those effects. I think this will be pretty sick on sorceress, I think, right? Stormweaver, what was it called?
And on that note, Frost Nexus is a way we could capitalize on that chilled or elemental ground effect here. Frost Nexus makes it so that whenever you freeze with the supported skill,
chilled ground,
you gain a chilled ground effect for 4 seconds. Meaning, we could use another skill to apply the Frost Nexus, have our chilled ground, and then have our Eye of Winter passing over to gain a ton of additional damage. On a similar note, we could also use Flame Wall in addition to that to grant our Eye of Winter even more damage. Now, flat spell
Wait,
damage
bro.
is
Oh, magma,
incredibly
isn't
rare
it?
in PoE2.
Of course.
I don't even know if it exists outside of skill gems, and Flame Wall is something that actually grants it here. So that's very, very strong potentially, and it could add quite a lot of extra damage to our
Yeah, that
ability
of
here.
course
So
I could
combining
work with that
Chill
one.
Ground or other types of elemental
That's
ground,
nice.
very, very high potential. Next up on the docket here is Archmage.
Oh my god.
A very, very experimental one
Archmage is gonna be so insane, man.
here on the list.
Disgusting.
I'm sure a lot of you guys know what it already does, but it is a self buff which gives you 5% of your damage as additional lightning for every 100 mana you already have. Now, I fully plan on going Mind Over Matter on my Blood Mage for the extra tankiness, so I'm already planning on building mana.
That makes
So this
sense.
will give me a ton of additional damage for free. Now, we've already got Eye of Winter, which is potentially passing through a Flame Wall to gain a ton of flat fire damage, and also potentially through Chilled Ground to gain even more damage if it works that way. And this, on top of all that, would just multiply all that damage we have and make it all additional lightning
Level
on top of
58.
that, which
Wow.
could be incredibly potent in terms of base damage juice. Now, there is a downside though, and that is that all spells cost an additional 5.35% of your mana at this gem level here. Now, what does that mean for a Blood Mage? Because we're paying some of our costs in life, we're paying some of it in mana, like what's going on with this? Well, it's very hard to say. But there's quite a few shenanigans afoot here, and I don't think I have time to explain really how this could work with Blood Mage, but it's fair to say there's some people cooking, myself included, and there's potentially a way to mitigate the downsides of Archmage and not pay any mana at all with your main skill, while still getting the lightning.
That's illegal. You can't do
The way you
that.
do that is through life tap. If you life tap your main skill, there's potentially a possibility that you can make it so the mana cost of Blood Mage, the cost of the skill, and all of that is just funneled into life, which hopefully you're leeching a absolute truckload of. So you're just smashing out your
I feel like your life bar is gonna go nuts if you do this.
Archmage Eye of Winter with all the buffs on it, and you're just leeching back all of the mana cost
Oh my
without
god,
the life cost because
wow.
it's now coming from life.
It sounds
That's the
hilarious.
idea. No idea if it'll work, but it sounds pretty cool if it does. And last up here we have, of course, cast on critical. Cast on critical, we're hitting a ton of times, hopefully from Eye of Winter.
You probably want to
we could be
support
pretty
us with
good,
the energy
We're
thing,
critical
right?
all the time. We could
I
maybe
assume.
get some serious cock juice here, which I personally would like to put on Comet. Cock, on
Wait, deals cold damage? Oh. Yeah, that's not what I expected.
Comet, that could be pretty damn strong, man. Especially if we link in some, like Spark
Yeah,
or something like that.
Cock
we
is
could
cast on
maybe get
crit.
some serious damage here. So that's pretty much all of the leak theory crafting I have
Cast on
done.
critical, I
Nothing
guess.
too concrete here. All the stuff, most of it's probably not going to work, but that's part of the fun of a new release. Definitely very excited though. Hopefully you guys are too, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and got some new perspective. And until next time, cheers. Yo.
Yeah, oh, quick outro, dude. That's pretty cool, man. I like the bait of Deadeye here. I like the way he thinks. It's gonna be interesting to see if it works. The whole leeching thing, and oh my god, yeah, it's gonna be very funny to see if that works. Ping pong your health. I've been talking a lot at work today about PoE2 and helping people out and stuff. So I basically told everyone that I would suggest you go into the game blind. Like you can look at some stuff like ascendancies or whatever if you want to, but like the first play experience should be better in this game than in the first one. So we'll see. Yeah, we have a lot of people at work who are interested, so that's fun. Very nice. I like that a lot. Should we do this one or this one? I wonder if I should update these builds or if we should look at Flickr. No updates? No updates. Because I need to sort this out. Now, I don't think you can't put concoction here, right? No, okay. It's from the ascendancy, so you can't put those in. Interesting. But apparently Pathfinder is gonna be one of the worst ascendancies. I'm looking forward to that, according to people who haven't played the game. So we'll see. Death's Oath. I think this one. The only thing here I think I want to look at is maybe not use freeze and cold stuff, but it seems extremely strong to have that, especially if you have the marks as well. You can get the ring with more curses. It's just one curse right now. Did I add another curse? I don't think I did. That's a buff. I did not. Okay. Interesting. Flicker is monk. I'm pretty sure, right? Yes, it requires a quarterstaff, and that I believe is only on a monk. Now, so this is level 47. 40 mana? Goddamn. That's crazy. Has a insane multiplier here. Low attack speed, yeah. It was pretty quick in the video. Like, I think they showed it twice. But you basically have to play monk. So while you play, what is this ascendancy called? Invoker. You play that, right? Invoker. This one seems broken. I don't know why it's broken. Yeah, you probably play Invoker, I think. Alright. Flicker Strike uses power charges. Teleport and strike 3 additional times per power charge. I mean, that's really nice. You cannot gain power charge while using this skill. Right. What, so you can't be flickering all day? Is that what they're saying? You can't be using Flicker Strike and gain power charges to use infinitely Flicker Strike. Okay. So I guess you need the palm skill, do you? I mean, probably a lot of other ways to get power charges, right? It grants you 1, I assume. Each enemy killed grants a power charge. Can you support this with, like, is there a splash, or what is the other one called? Not splash. What's the other one called? Like, if you can make this hit more than one enemy. So if there are like 4 enemies at low health, you use this and it just like hits all of them. Interesting. Oh yeah. So it's high. You need to level with a different skill until you get this one, and even then you can't keep using it all the time. Okay. So we're playing monk. Well, you have to play monk. You're playing invoker. Is there a what do we have for power charges? That's no. Slam, charge staff, consume all, no. If you use the staff, slam the ground, consumes, no. Consume. Okay, there's nothing here. What is this? Huh. That gives you power charge. I don't know about that. Stampede. What is this? Dash to a target and strike them with your quarter staff. If the target is shocked, consume the shock to release a lightning shockwave and grant you power charge. Okay. These are active skills. Killing Palm. That's the one we have. Let's add this one for now. Let's check. Was it shock? So it's like a cast on shock. What's it called? Cast on shock. Yeah. Okay. So I mean that has synergy. What if we do, wait, okay, let's look at power charges first. Perpetual charge. Okay, has a chance to not remove charges but still count as using them. That's pretty good on Flicker, isn't it? Wow, that multiplier though. This gonna be expensive. This, yeah. The mana cost will be high. Okay. Shock. Cast on shock. What do we have? Shock, lightning, shock. That's right. Yeah, I can type. I know how to type. Shock chance. Do we need this? Lasting shock. Shock siphon. Causing to recover energy shield. Impact shock. That's not one. Okay, what is it? Lightning storm. Also high level. Creates a lightning storm for a duration which repeatedly strikes enemies in its area with shocking bolts. It has 25% chance. I mean, sounds pretty good, right? So we got lightning storm. What else? Overcharge. Yeah, I don't know if we need that. Lightning bolt. That's like a mage skill, right? Yeah. Voltaic mark. Oh, there's a mark. I mean, that could be good on bosses, right? Mark. Conduction. Support skills have increased. I mean, I think you want that one. Wait, why are there two different ones? You have shock chance, which is 20%, and you have this, 100. One is level 1 and one is level 10. Okay. Interesting. Lightning bolt will take more. Warp. Oh, they have lightning warp. I mean, we're probably not going to use this, but sounds cool. Stomping ground. Nope. Elemental discharge. Huh. Exposure? Don't think so. Coursing current. Shocking hits. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so it's like a prolift shock. Sounds that is gonna help a lot. Enervation, regen mana. You might actually need this. Innervate. Gain attacks, gain damage, extra lightning damage. Arc? No. Ball lightning? No. Stormfire? No. Lightning conduit. Isn't that literally the one in PV1? I think it is. Charge staff. Okay. What about lightning? maybe? Is it the same thing? Mastery. Support line. Okay, that's pretty cool. Not gonna do much for us, but yeah. Penetration, nah. Ball lightning. Exposure. Would you look at this one? Warp. Conduit. Lightning damage. I just don't think that's a good idea here. Arcane Storm sounds cool. Probably not what we want. Spark, yeah. Orb of Storms, of course. And Lasting Shock. Overcharge. Shock Chance. Yeah, we don't need that. Siphon. Sounds... Oh, this is Energy Shield. Never mind. So no. Stormfire. He's pretty cool, but yeah. Defensive. Cold damage. Fire damage. Innervate. Charge stuff. What about... Isn't there like a curse? Hold on. What is it? Despair, Chain, Sniper, Blasphemy, Hex Blast, Hand of Chill. What? Is there no curse for lightning damage? Crit damage bonus. Slow, Chaos Res, Armor Reduction, Fire Res, deal less damage. So we're missing like the other two, right? That's weird. Okay, interesting. What about elemental damage? Elemental army? No, that's pretty good though. Oh, it's resistances. Okay. Discharge. Focus. Deal more elemental damage but unable to inflict ailments. No. Damage, the ward, brutality. Not for us. Eye of Winter. Okay, what do we, if we check here, elemental, wait, hold on. Persistent trigger lightning cold fire. This is a okay, it's a buff, right? So increased energy generator, that's nice. Gains 125 energy when you ignite, oh sorry, shock an enemy. 500 energy, jeez. Socketed spells consume 10 energy per second. Wait, socketed? Wait, how do you socket these? Oh yeah, it can't be here because that's cast on crit. Okay, so you want elemental invocation. I guess you want to separate. Do you? Maybe? Okay, custom shock. We have lightning storm, and lightning storm can or guarantees shock. We have prolif on shock. We have invocation for energy. I need to think. So how do we generate power charge? I mean, there are a few options. Because I think there's like the charge thing that Oh, is that the one we have here? Perpetual. Yeah. But there was something else. Charge. Overcharge, multiple. I think this is one. Supporter skills have a chance to grant and charge. So we need this on the generator. They need to have a low health for this. This works only if they're shocked. This is like for bosses, some mark. I don't know if it's gonna be useful, but okay, yeah. The buff. Energy when it's shocked. Yeah, okay. How do we generate this? Except for, like, there are a lot of I mean, it's there's a lot of combo stuff in this game, right? That's where you have to rely on. So okay. Power charge. That's a skeleton, that's a slam. What does this one do with power charge? Probably not use it, but that's a staff. Falling thunder. This one consumes. Adding lightning damage and lightning. Yeah, also consumes. Or a zombie flicker. Yeah. Detonating arrow. Oh, illusion's nice, yeah. Nice defensive option. This one actually grants you a power charge. Okay. That's 90 spirit plus 100 on this. Isn't that too much? Maybe it's 190 you get in total. I don't remember. I think Shayula could also work for this. I mean, we have... What does Thunder do? Because they changed it, right? Only 30, wow. Cannot inflict shock. Converts physical to lightning damage. Lightning bolt strikes the target of your next 5 attacks after killing a shocked enemy. Yeah, this skill can't inflict shock, which is, I think that's fine. You probably want this, but I don't think we can use all these. It's probably way too much. I mean, illusion is probably not as good, I imagine. What did they use in the video to generate this? How did they generate? I mean, there's the very basic tutorial part with the monk, where they're like is hitting them normally and like not whatever. But like in endgame, because there was a clip where they were flickering quite a bit. I don't think they showed how they got the power charges. Good question. Power charge. Gain power charges instead of frenzy. Chance to gain power charge when you shock a shield enemy. Wow, loss for power is pretty sick. 10% chance to get your max charges up. Quarterstaff skills that consume power charges cannot count as consuming an additional. Wow, these are really good, aren't they? Holy moly. Power charge duration. Okay. So it seems like you have some pretty sick stuff here for power charges. Okay, so it's over here. You literally start here, right? Yeah, here's the monk. That is very close. That's crazy. And this is like duration. What about storm? Oh shit, that's pretty far away. Crit with staffs. Wow. Attack speed. Damage is flat damage. Huh. Freeze build up. Is there a shock one? Oh, that's cool. Oh wow, that's really good. Life from kill, mana regen. So there's one for shield. Mana on kill is pretty sick. Mana leech. Recoup. I wonder if Recoup is gonna be that good, really. I guess we'll find out. Global accuracy. Is that? Oh, that's resonance and like his power charge duration. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's quite good. How about energy? Oh god. There's a few. Yeah, this one's pretty sick. 35% chance for trigger skills to refund half of the energy spent. That's insane. It's pretty good. Okay. I think Invoker makes the most sense. Like Triula works as well. You want to go. You can get the shock on Shill, I guess, if you want that. Meta skills gain more energy. I think you go. Like both of these, Thunder and Blizzard, because I think we need to chill somehow. Probably Unbound Avatar. Okay, so we got quarter. No, these are specifically. Are there like specific ones for quarterstaffs? Quarterstaff skills that consume power charges count as consuming an additional power charge. Is that the one here? Yeah, I want to look at this one. Yeah, that was sick. Damage, attack speed, stun? Wait, this means that we just by default deal cold damage, isn't it? So wait, where was it? Was it in here somewhere? Chance to gain a power charge when you shock a shield enemy. So we have to shield the enemy and shock them. I mean, yeah. I think we definitely need this for shock, and then what? Do we want both of these? I mean, the execute is amazing. It's a guarantee. You also have the siphoning. But you don't use that until they're shocked. So we need a way to shock them as well. Yeah, the charge. Where did we put the charge? It's not here. I just put it here so I remembered. I forgot about that. Hey Teresa, what's up? Multiple charge. This does not do it, right? It would be nice to have this do it, but that doesn't work either, does it? Well, I got a lot of work done today, so it feels good. I have a lot of people at work who want to play PoE too, so I'm helping them out. A lot of newbies, like new players. Some of them, a few have played PoE 1, but they're still not very knowledgeable. So, just helping them out. I think we put charge here, maybe? Multiple charge. Where I got my model, I commissioned it. It's like a few years ago, I think. Yeah, a few years ago. I wanted a VTuber model that was not anime related, so I picked one of my favorite video game characters instead. Wait, so you basically need the ascendancy for this to work? Wait, does that work? Thanks, man. Are they shocked when they're on shocked ground? I think that's two completely different things. I guess that works. I think I've been affiliated for a while actually. I think I was doing speedruns is when that happened at some point. I don't remember when, but yeah. Back then. I'm just gonna assume that you want or you need these and then it just works. Is that how? Is that really it? Interesting, maybe? I guess. Final strike of support skills can be performed twice in succession. Support strikes that perform a final strike at the end of a combination of attacks allowing you to use. I don't think this one works with Flicker. Maybe. Because Flicker hits twice. Right? No, 3 times actually. Maybe? Because I don't do that content anymore, that's why. That I used to do. I mainly speedruns. I just do whatever I feel like. Culling. Culling. Wait, combo finisher. Cannot support skills which are already combo. Is flicker a combo? It puts a requirement on it. Critical strike could be cool. Stun. No, I want the. I don't think we have the splash thing, do we? Skills empowered. Skills empowered by support skills have culling strike. Support skills that can empower skills other than themselves, causing them to deal cull damage. Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, I have an artist. I use the same artist for my emotes and everything, so he's a really nice guy. Cast on crit, we already have that. Cold exposure. What about attack? Strike AoE movement. Movement, that's interesting. Maybe that one. Let's check melee. Physical. Wait, does it convert? Is that what it does? Gain 10% of damage as extra cold damage. So I assume that is a good idea then. Final strike. I don't think combo is gonna work. Support strikes that perform a final strike. Allow you to use the final twice. Yeah, I think it's more like the warrior stuff, maybe. Probably, I would guess. Okay. It was on. That was movement. Okay. Jagged ground. Jagged ground? Oh, it's slam skills. Well, that explains a lot. Support skills deal splash damage when they stun. Okay, I want splash damage, but this requires a stun. So no. Behead is pretty fun. That could actually be pretty fun. Yeah, I might use that. Culling is good. Probably critical. Could maybe go that. Castle. I mean, that's literally it. That's. I mean, it's only the ones we know of. So. I mean, cull. And I mean, maybe crit or something. I like how they have traps. We haven't seen any traps. Have we? Or I think it's mines we haven't seen. I think there's a support trap gem, right? Yeah, multiple trap. Support skills gain 4% increased crit chance each second up to. So I assume you build this, it just builds up while you don't use Flicker Strike, and then you have like guaranteed crit probably. I mean, even then you have like 40%, probably higher. Less attack speed. Is there attack Do they have? Wait, I didn't even think of that. Like faster attack. Oh, we do have faster attacks. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think the combo is probably a no-go. So faster attacks. If it's physical, I mean, it is converting some of it to. I don't think that's going to be enough, though. I imagine. Probably not. I'm waiting for a phone call. Okay, let's have a look at the. I want to watch this interview. This is a new interview I haven't seen. Just the English translations. Oh yeah, cool. Oh, when was this? Oh yeah. Oh, I think the one with Maffle is today. Yeah, actually, it's today. Okay, I'll watch that later. Okay. Yeah, another interview. I don't know. Seems good. I mean, people seem happy with this one. Sure.
In Path of Exile 2, do you still need to go through all the acts every season?
Probably.
Yes, you do. As I've always maintained, that I think it's a huge part of the reason why Path of Exile 1 still set its highest record of players in the most recent season. There's very few games that do that, and I think a lot of the reason is because if you want to have a game where you need to, I think it is important that you have a game where each new season you feel like you're on the level playing field with everyone else, and the moment that you don't have the need to go through the campaign again, then other players will feel left behind.
Existence is a
Why are you
thing
playing this?
The
one?
game, right? However, great answer to them. And you.
So what you've shown us already today is very memorable and it's very impressive. So we met in Gamescom, and so are you wearing the t-shirt very well, the tablet t-shirt that I gave you?
I have worn it a couple of times. You know, my wardrobe is almost entirely Path of Exile merchandise at this point. I
No
don't think I have any
surprise.
t-shirts at all that don't have a logo on them.
So the trend now in the action RPGs is we've seemingly transitioned from what we, maybe call Diablo-likes into PoE-likes, and to the point where other genres like roguelikes are also taking ideas from Path of Exile.
Yeah, I know.
And so with that in mind, how do you feel about that trend? And also, is it maybe just a little overwhelming that before PoE 2 is even out, that there's this much attention?
I mean, it's certainly, look, I think that taking inspiration from other games is something that everyone should do.
Yeah.
Like, you should always be looking at all of the different games, even in different genres, and seeing what kind of mechanics could be interesting to use. So, I mean, look, when we're designing new leagues for Path of Exile, we're always looking at, like what's a mechanic from some totally different genre we could potentially use. And so I have absolutely no problem with people looking at the mechanics that we're doing and taking them from us as well. This is just how creativity in the game industry works, is we all share our ideas. Obviously, with the launch coming up, it's pretty crazy. There's been way more attention than we even expected. I think that we're certainly going to set new records, I think, for how many players are playing the game.
It's gonna be nuts.
I just hope that our servers can keep up.
So when you look at PoE 2 right now, how close is it to your perfect image or optimistic image ideal image of PoE 2? If you could give it like a number, like a percentage.
It's pretty close now, I would say. Like, definitely, like, if you don't count just the fact that we don't have all the content in terms of the gameplay and feel, I think we're definitely 90% there. The main thing, we just have to get all that content ready, because it's such a huge important part of an action RPG that you need enough content to keep people playing again and again. And the other thing as well is that the next best action RPG, in my opinion, is Path of Exile 1. And we need to make sure that we can compete with it in terms of content as well.
I mean,
so one thing that some people have noticed is that it seems like mostly it is overlap in terms of like mechanisms or content from PoE 1 to PoE 2. So in the future, is the plan
gotta
to
make new stuff,
always have
surely.
this kind of overlapping where you're carrying things over from PoE 1, or is it going to continue into completely separate development trees?
We won't necessarily do that, but I think there will be some amount of sharing. It's actually quite nice for us to be able to, tell a story in two parts with PoE 1 and PoE 2. So a great example of that was the last league we released called Settlers of Calgur.
Yeah, really good one.
We have in Act 4 in PoE 2, we had this city called King's March. And then we decided that in PoE 1 we wanted to create a league that told the story of how that city came to be.
That's really cool.
So that's just something that's just a great opportunity when we've got these two games running at the same time. And I think that we'll probably continue doing some interesting things like that. But in terms of the overall gameplay and the way that it feels, the systems are quite different in PoE 2 to what they are in PoE 1. So we can't simply just take something from PoE 1 and or PoE 2 and move them between the games because they require significant changes to be able to, to work inside the gameplay system that each game has.
So this is from the content creators that are attending today. So he's not sure if this was answered before since you have so many interviews globally, but obviously Mirror of Kalandra was a very iconic item and currency in PoE 1. And he's wondering, first of all, does that item exist in PoE 2? And
Yes.
if not, oh, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Really?
But are there other items that you think are kind of at that similar level where the moment you see it, you're like, this is it. Like, I won.
I wonder if it does the same thing.
Well, hopefully we can design some good, unique items that are like that. And ideally, from the pinnacle content, we really want all of the uniques that come from that content to feel like you absolutely must have them. In order to make it actually worth doing that content. So, I'm hoping our designers are able to come up with some really awesome uniques. And I think what we're doing with uniques as well in PoE 2, they can be a lot more interesting, especially with things that can add skills to your character and things like that. So there's quite a lot more unique in PoE 2 than PoE 1.
Okay.
제가 그 패스 오브 엑자일을 10년 넘게 했는데 아직 칼란드라의 거울을 한 번도 못 먹어봤거든요, 땅에서. 패스 오브 엑자일 2에서 먹을 수 있을까요?
So 10 years and he still hasn't seen the mirror drop. So do you think he'll have a chance in PoE 2?
Well, I've never found a legitimate mirror before either.
조나단님도 직접 찾으신 줄
Oh my
I
god.
did have one drop
Developer,
one
by
time
the
when
way.
I was using cheats. But I didn't cheat to get it, but I just was killing the monsters with a cheat and I got one.
Oh,
That's the only one
wow.
I've ever seen.
That
그
sucks.
아이템을 받으려고 한 건 아니고 이제 테스트하면서 치트키로 좀 다른 걸 테스트하고 있었는데 그때는 딱 한 번 보셨다고 합니다. 제 생각엔 이 정도면 네, 뭐 거기까지만. 네. So this question is about kind of the timing. So what is maybe the timeline for early access updates within early access, and then also kind of what's your outlook for the final release, the full release?
So I think that it will take, for the second part, I think that it will definitely take us at least 6 months, but maybe a little bit more to be able to get out of early access. I certainly don't want it to take more than a year. I do want it to be next year that we finish. But as far as the content update goes, it's a little bit hard to say how long. Our original plan was to kind of do them every couple of months, but the studio has been it's been a lot of work to get to the point of this release, and so we need a little break, I think.
You said in the video that it's like 80% there total.
I'm not exactly sure when the first one will be, but the intention is effectively to have them every few months. It should feel a little bit like the league updates in PoE 1, where they come relatively frequently, and our intention effectively is to add more
frequently
classes, and also more
not so much lately. We had like we had 2 leagues this year, I think. That's not
the
frequent,
acts and so on, basically, as we go through. One thing I will say is that we want to make sure that by the time we go into full release, that everyone has had an opportunity to playtest all the classes, including all the ascendancy classes and all of these things.
I assume they're going to reset
it's
everything.
very important that we're able to get testing on all of these things before we actually can be able to do a release.
Gotcha. So this is something that he's come across along with some other fans that he's noticed are very hardcore fans of Path of Exile. And one thing they've noticed is that the crafting system in 2 seems to be a lot more simplified and maybe not as many options as Path of Exile 1. So do you have plans to kind of expand that similarly to PoE 1?
So our intention is to expand it over time, but we wanted to make sure that the kind of base level crafting system is easier to use in PoE 2. One of the things that I think makes it easier to use actually is the fact that you get more currency and you can use it more often. So that means that you're going to be experimenting a lot more with currency just through the game. We have different options than what were available in PoE 1. So I think people probably will take a little bit of time to get used to all of these things. But Path of Exile 1 ultimately is a game that's had more than 10 years of expansions, and it's got a lot of kind of you might call it bloat over that time, where there's lots of crafting systems that kind of overlap, or they do
a lot.
They do different things, but kind of like they're trying to achieve the similar results. And we wanted to kind of unify some of that stuff in PoE 2 in order to make it so that there was just a little bit less of those things that you would need to know about. But obviously, as we add more and more content, and all of these need to have new player power and so on, there will definitely be more options over time. And we're also leaving some design space as well for us to be able to add things in the future too. It's also worth mentioning that we still have more sequels to Path of Exile 1 leagues that we want to add to Path of Exile 2. And when we do those, there will often also be sequels to some of the crafting systems that those they had as well.
So in Path of Exile 1, one of the troubles they had was that new currency kept getting added and added, and it seemed overwhelming. So can we expect maybe slower additions in PoE 2?
It's a little bit hard to say. I mean, ultimately, anytime we add something, it comes down to does it seem cool to us? And if it does, then we add it. So, look, we're trying to make sure that it's a little bit more simplified on a base level. But look, as you add content, you need to add new features, and people want these things. So I'm sure 10 years from now, there will be it will feel very complicated again.
Okay.
Probably.
So he took some time to kind of gather some different opinions on what would be best to ask you when you had the opportunity today. And one thing that came up continuously was about controller support. Given that it's WASD, some people, they don't like it as much on keyboard, so they would like to use a joystick. So first of all, how much, if at all, is the controller support better in PoE 2 compared to PoE 1? And also, how close would you say it is to perfection right now?
So it's way, way better than Path of Exile 1 was. We've got a team now who actually, that's what they spend their time doing. The main thing is that...
Because they have couch co-op,
like, in terms of not being perfect, is that every skill requires a lot of specific work in order to be able to actually, feel good, especially at endgame. And you also can't necessarily tell whether a skill feels perfect until you've actually played through and kind of actually use it in-game as well. So I think that there probably will be some skills that could be better. And what am I talking about with this is kind of like, you need to do very specific targeting work, because obviously with a controller you can't select an exact location, so you need to be able to kind of predict exactly where the player would want to use a skill at a given time, and the answer to that is very different depending on how the skill works. So effectively, there's a lot of that work to do, and there's probably still more we can do, but I think that we've done a pretty good job in getting it there. And certainly the base interface for controller is just so much better than it was in Path of Exile 1.
So he remembers he had a chance to try the controller support at Gamescom, and he remembers there were cases like that with targeting where he wanted to hit the boss, but it's hitting mobs. So has it even been improved since then? Do you know?
I mean, there's certainly been a lot of work just on specific skills, but it really is case by case. And the other thing as well, the worst times are when people disagree about what the best way to target is. So that's also another trick.
I don't think you can win that argument.
The answer to whether it improved depends on what skills you were using. Some of them definitely, I mean, there's been a lot of work on a lot of different ones, but I can't say about the exact skill you were using there.
So I think we discussed this briefly before, but just kind of reminiscing about the idea of more in-depth or a more specific guide, right, like blinking lights or something like that on the passive trees or the Atlas tree. And his thought was maybe even just like level 35, something in the middle where you know how to get a jump start. Do you have plans for a guide like that in-game?
So we are doing things where we have specific guidance on individual skills, like we've got videos for each one that explain how they work.
That's cool.
We're also doing things like recommending support gems and so on. But I guess we stopped shy of wanting to specifically recommend a given build to people, just because we kind of feel like it's really up to the players to decide what they think is good. And if we start specifying specific builds, I worry that they will become either out of date, or people will say, oh, this build sucks, like why is GGG recommending something that's clearly terrible compared to this other build. So we sort of hesitate a little bit to get involved in the ring of like what build is best, and we kind of want to leave that to the players more. So yeah, we're very happy to recommend, explain how things work more, get better at showing what the effect of your choices are, but we just don't really want to sort of say, okay, here's what you should be doing. Actually, even already we had, just with the recommended support gems, we've had people say to us, oh, your idea for this one is terrible. You should replace it with that other one. There's already some arguments.
So this is a bit of a lighter question, but he remembers when Path of Exile officially released in Korea with Korean service, that there was a Korean traditional hat as a cosmetic item. So are there any plans for other maybe traditional Korean garb as cosmetics in PoE 2?
I'm sure that we'll get to doing something like this, but one thing to mention is that those items that you had from before will still work in PoE 2, so if you would like to use them. I don't know if that particular one will work at the beginning of early access, but by full release, every microtransaction we ever had will work, so you'll still be able to use those. But I'm sure we'll be making more things like this in the future.
So then, what about what's your plans for like the demon form or
this is
the
interesting.
druid when it transforms into different animals?
Customizing
those
it.
have cosmetics as well.
So we might be able to, we can make cosmetics for the different forms, but obviously the cosmetics that your character normally wears won't work on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't make your bear wear armor that way.
Gotcha. But it would be a separate thing that you're.
Yeah, but we can do separate things, and we are planning on doing some of those.
They can do some
so
badass stuff with that.
Would you imagine that it's like changing what the bear itself looks like? If it's
Yeah, we can absolutely do that, and we definitely will be doing stuff like that.
So he remembers hearing in a different interview that you've done that you also are taking inspiration from other action games and things like that. And a lot of these games, even if they're run in a season format, they tend to have mid-season updates that will keep track of the game.
Probably not.
Now, you've mentioned in the past that the benefit of a season system is that you can play the season and then swap to a different game with a different season and go back and forth. But what happens when maybe the season update you had, whether it's something like in PoE 1, like the Calandra League or the Necropolis League, where it just wasn't received as well? Would you be open to this idea of mid-season updates to kind of amend what has already happened in that season?
Generally speaking, we don't like to do that, and that's because back in the early days of Path of Exile 1, we actually tried doing more frequent updates and these sorts of things, but we kind of found that they didn't really ultimately cause people to come back. So what we were much better off doing is just coming up with a larger update and trying a different approach and doing something completely new at that point. Occasionally we do modify things in the middle of a season, but generally speaking, we try to really avoid that if it's going to negatively affect people's characters once the game is released. So effectively, it really is much better, we found, to go all in on like having a larger update every 3 months than it is to kind of do smaller changes in the middle. That being said, I'm sure that when we first launch PoE 2, there will be many things that we get wrong that we'll have to update very quickly. So I'm sure the first couple of weeks there'll be many small updates just to tweak numbers.
It's going to be busted builds,
boss fights that are too hard or skills that that are too weak and things like this.
I think mine is going to be too weak.
Probably going to be a lot of changes like that at the start.
Yeah, so listening to you, he's inspired now and very proud of PoE 2 just with the energy that you have.
Okay, that's good to hear.
First of all, there were a lot of questions from the exiles that joined us today, so he tried to pick some unique ones. But the first one is, in PoE 1, one of the troubles they had was that you couldn't try on the cosmetics before you purchased it. So is that included in PoE 2, and if not, are there any plans?
So actually we do have a completely new store in Path of Exile 2, and that store does let you see the items on your character before you buy them.
Oh, that's nice.
And it also allows you to see like a close-up of your character and this kind of thing as well. So yeah, we've actually done quite a bit of work in that area. So I think players will probably have a much better time with that.
So next is they want to play with their friends, that's their plan, but they haven't found as much information when it comes to co-op or party play. So how does that work? How would you get involved in party play?
Isn't it the same,
so you
I
can
think?
play right from the beginning of the game with up to 6 players. The game is sort of intended to be balanced so that you can play single player or multiplayer, and you should have a very similar time in terms of the overall difficulty. In multiplayer, during the campaign, though, you can resurrect your friends. So that means that you don't have to leave them behind if they die.
You don't have to reset the boss or anything.
That can be quite a fun experience.
That's interesting.
When you get to the end game,
that's
you
like
can't
Diablo
resurrect
3
them anymore. So you
back in the day.
have to make sure you're able to all survive a map in order to get through it. But yeah, we try to make sure that the game is balanced for both experiences without having regard from one, without making sure that one or the other is advantaged.
Maps and bosses only having one try, and otherwise even the pinnacle bosses you'd have to kind of build up again to revisit them. And this might be a bit too daunting for newer players or kind of middle-level players, where if I die, I have to kind of go through the entire process again to try to challenge this boss again in the end game. So are there any plans to try to mitigate that in the future?
So I think if you're talking about the actual pinnacle bosses, the intention really is that is the content
No.
that only the very good players are able to achieve. That's kind of the what pinnacle ultimately means. So if you're talking about
good.
early end game, losing a map is not really a big deal. Like
Yeah.
you get plenty of them. It's absolutely fine.
I like
it. Only
it,
really
so.
starts to matter as you get towards that pinnacle content where it requires quite a lot to be able to challenge that stuff. So effectively, we kind of want it that way, and I believe that it will mean that achieving victory against the pinnacle bosses will be a much more valuable achievement than it was in Path of Exile 1.
So this is a question about the combat, but for instance, something like a pure melee build or something like that, or maybe some elements being a little bit too strong, where physical damage was really only used to destruct things, right, and to fragment things when they're frozen or something like that. So what has been designed in PoE 2 to kind of balance out melee and different elements and all those types of builds?
I guess it's a little bit hard to answer that fully, but ultimately, it's not necessarily important that every element is balanced against each other. The key thing is that we're giving you lots of different tools to solve different problems. So in Path of Exile 2, because you can have many more skills that are 6 links, it means that it's okay to have skills that are just only occasionally useful. And so we can do things like, I like to have skills that are just situational, right? Like you feel like, oh, this is the perfect time to use this, so that's when I use it. And so effectively, I think it's a mistake if you're a player to be like, okay, I'm a fire sorceress, I'm only going to go fire, right? Like this is the kind of thing that, you can do that, but I think you're going to have a worse time than if you try to combo things between different elements. So I guess what I'm saying is that the elements aren't necessarily balanced in the way that you're kind of suggesting. It's more that each skill needs to have a place and a time to use it correctly.
Just one aspect of that question I want to follow up on is, so what about specifically when it comes to melee, like how useful are melee skills outside of just being supplemental to others?
I definitely think melee skills are very useful.
They look really good in a video.
Relative to ranged. Like that you definitely get the payoff for being in melee range. A lot of
melee
bosses
confirmed
are
best.
much easier to fight in melee than they are in ranged.
Really?
Because the skills the bosses choose to use are different, and also because the any kind of attack that involves hitting an arc, it's much easier to avoid.
Yeah, true.
So for example, with the boss I was just fighting, which I did admittedly die to, it's actually much easier if you stay very close to the boss, because his abilities, when he's targeting you, you can dodge around the boss very easily when you're very close, but when you're far away, it's actually much harder to dodge those abilities. So melee is actually quite an advantage in that regard too.
So Path of
you
Exile
saying melee is
known
easier?
for its economy in some ways, and it's very detailed and it's very complex. And you've done quite a good job in kind of creating this capitalism economy amongst themselves in the barter system. So is there anyone on the team that majored in econ, or maybe you have a team that's dedicated to how to manage the economy?
The trade
we don't
website
have
guy.
a dedicated team or anything like that, but I think that, look, we've always been huge believers in the sort of free market economy in these games. I think it's what really gives items the value that they have. So it's just something that we have a policy of we never bind any items, and that's so that everyone can feel like
thank
once
God
items
for
have
that.
value. The part then that I think did help is having a good understanding of stock markets when we're implementing the currency exchange system.
Oh, yeah.
That one, if you actually get right down to it, is like a full stock market type situation. So having some I did have a bit of understanding about that when we went to implement it, and I think that was very useful.
So in PoE 1, it was, the lore and the story and all of this world building was so fragmented that oftentimes people had to go to third-party tools like databases, things like that. So are there any plans to maybe implement a type of wiki or something like that, whether it's in-game or something more easily accessible for people?
Well, I hope we're doing a much better job of just storytelling in general in PoE 2 than we were in PoE 1.
I think it will be way better,
or
yeah.
something like that. But it actually is something that I would be keen to do, to have a place so that you can see all.
What they should do is have more of those voice acted things, like the journals that play by themselves, and you can keep fighting and you can listen to the lore. I like that.
The conversations that you had and all of the lore objects that you found. We don't have it yet, but it is something that I think will be quite nice to do.
All right, so we'll see if you can answer this one. But they're wondering, as you operate Path of Exile, have you guys ever done these kind of like phantom nerfs that just weren't public, whether it's about drop
Yep.
rates or tweaking
Absolutely.
values without telling people.
I'll say, I will say not really.
Not
There might be
intentionally,
a
I
few
guess.
cases where the players would argue that there was a change that wasn't noted, but generally speaking, we do try to be transparent. But I will be honest and say there might have been a couple of cases where there are a few minor tweaks without mentioning it to anyone. But generally speaking, we try to make sure we tell everyone about these things.
So in Path of Exile 2, are there any weapons that are specialized that you need certain requirements for that are very unique in that sense of their design, similar to some of the late game items in PoE 1?
I guess not exactly. There are definitely going to be uniques that are kind of hard to build for because they require as you might say, some sort of special requirements for them. But I mean, ultimately, I guess not exactly. It's mostly just that, there are just some uniques that are just hard to build for because they require certain things of your character that may be difficult to meet.
But you have items like Headhunter and Mageblood in PoE 1 that were kind of these must-haves.
They are in the game. I think they confirmed it
so
before.
Are there any of those in early access in PoE 2? And if so, could you maybe give us a hint on what they're like?
I don't really want to spoil any specific uniques right now because it's one of those things that we have very tight control over the spoilers of these. But look, there are a lot of uniques that are returning in PoE 2. One of the things that we want to do is kind of try to surprise people with how we have adapted some of the mechanics when they don't directly translate.
Like Mageblood. I wonder how that works.
We have a Mageblood replacement at the moment because obviously the flask system changed quite a lot last minute. So we don't have that one yet, but there are I know I probably shouldn't say anything, but obviously, look, we want to make really chase uniques, that's our goal. So hopefully you'll enjoy the ones we have put in there.
So when it comes to skills that are just underused or maybe forgotten, what are your plans? What's the philosophy, and how do you patch those? How do you update them? How often?
Well, I mean, so every time we do a patch for Path of Exile 1 as well, and what we will do in PoE 2, is we always look at the various data websites that exist that sort of show you what things are popular and what things aren't. And we're always focusing on the things that are underutilized in order to buff them. So I have no doubt that we'll be doing the same thing in PoE 2. It's much better to buff the weak things than it is to nerf the powerful things.
Yes.
People obviously feel a lot better about that. So ideally we can do that. But I will say though that it's okay for there to be in PoE 2 for there to be some skills that don't see a huge amount of use. We design the game a lot like how when you're making a game like Magic the Gathering, like a card game, where some things exist to be combo pieces that maybe they have not found the rest of the combo yet. And so it's okay for things like that to exist so that people
That's
later
interesting,
on will realize what the use is, or we add a unique and it adds a use for it and these sort of things. So it's okay to have a few underutilized things like that just to exist to be interesting things for people to discover later.
They're not quite sure if you really prefer buffs over nerfs from their experience.
I don't think so.
So PoE 1, it's kind of
This
infamous
is a
for needing
buff.
so many third-party tools. So you've continuously said that you really tried to fix or amend a lot of that in PoE 2. So could you give us a detailed example of what's changed to mitigate that?
So the main thing that we're trying to do is provide better information in the game client for the items that you have.
Yeah, a lot of good
there's
stuff.
a few ways we do that. So one of them is
Tooltips,
just the hovers that you, the advanced skill information that you can get from a skill. We show a lot more information, something that you might ordinarily have needed to use a third-party tool to get. This includes things like information about minions and information about all the different components of a skill, like these kinds of things. So we're trying to be a lot better with that. The other thing as well that we're doing is when it's possible on the skill tree to see what effect that a given skill will have on your character. So it's a lot easier to sort of find out how that works in advance as well.
Okay.
What I will say though is that I'm sure that people will still want to be using things like Path of Building, because what Path of Building lets you do that we will never let you do is try out a build that you don't have the items for. And that's something we would never want to allow people to do, but yet obviously people will want that kind of thing. So I'm sure those tools will still be things that have a use. And some people will say that those tools are mandatory, but I guess I don't fully agree with that, because I think that the game is one where you want to explore and find the interesting combos. So I guess that's our position on it anyway. Oh, and
That makes
by the way,
sense.
people who work on those tools have been an amazing source of new game developers for us because they already understand all the stats already.
So PoE 2.cap was capped at 30 million, but was that going to increase?
What's the integer,
yeah.
right? I don't think you can reach this cap right now.
You know, I actually don't really know the answer to this question. I believe that the cap for this was not really like a game design thing. It was more of a technical thing with how
Yeah.
the stats are represented internally. So I think it's kind of one of those random things. Hopefully it wouldn't be necessary.
There's no way you
anymore.
can reach that in the early access,
but
is there?
Ideally, you shouldn't run into these kinds of problems. It was more of just a technical issue.
So mounts. So are there any thoughts behind mounts and how those might be implemented or used?
So we do have the one rower mount that's used on the Ranger mostly.
How do you get
but,
that one?
We don't have any others at the moment. They're not like a general system, if you know what I mean. Like they're used for specific purposes. I think it would be cool to add more later on, but you know, we've got a few ideas for what we might do. But for now, we just have that one, and that will do for now. I think.
Any ideas on how that can be continued to be developed, even just the one?
I mean, like for that one mount. So, but what it does effectively is allows you to bypass the other slowdown that you would normally get when you're firing.
Don't you get
arrows.
stunned if you get hit or
And
something?
so that one, like doing that is like, to be honest, it's like very overpowered. Like we need to actually be careful that the downside is good is enough, because yeah, it really makes you very, very fast. If we were doing another mount, I'd be keen to do a mount that is more for melee characters. But we need to. There's be quite a lot of work to do something like that. But yeah, I'm interested in doing it. We just haven't got anything yet.
Will guilds be transferable from 1 to 2? And also, are there any thoughts behind guild-specific challenges?
So, the guilds are actually not currently combined with PoE 1 and 2. It's something that I would have liked to do, but unfortunately, like, it was a little bit technically challenging for a few reasons. So yeah, the guilds are actually separated. As for guild-specific challenges, that is something that I'm interested in, but the problem is that we generally have a rule that all the content that it's in the game has to be completable either single player or multiplayer, as I was saying before. So if we do guild-specific challenges, what I worry about is then people will feel pressured to join a guild just so that they can do those things, and that's kind of something that we want to not necessarily make people have to do.
So this one, there's a lot of emotional baggage, but I think some people already know the answer.
No,
in
absolutely
Path of
not.
Exile 2, do you still need
Nope.
to go through all the acts?
Yes.
every season?
Yes, you do.
Of course.
And as I've
I think
always
that's
maintained
fine.
that I think it's a huge part of the reason why Path of Exile 1 still set its highest record of players in the most recent season. There's very few games that do that, and I think a lot of the reason is because if you want to have a game where you need to, I think that it's important that you have a game where each new season you feel like you're on the level playing field with everyone else, and the moment that you don't have the need to go through the campaign again, then other players will feel left behind. So I think that like in the short term,
Fair, I
you
guess.
certainly can annoy some people with that, but in the long term, I think it's much better for the health of the game.
자, 유배자 대표로 나와서 또 저희를 도와주신 NPC님 너무 감사드리고요. 이렇게 또 인터뷰를 진행해봤는데 이런 인터뷰를 몇 번 해봤지만 이렇게 시원한 답변을 들은 적이 사실 몇 번 없었거든요. 물론 방금 질문은 제외하고요.
So he's done, several interviews like this, but he's never felt so kind of relieved about all the answers, except for maybe the last one, because it's kind of the expected answer.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we heard that you have to get moving again.
Yes, I'll be flying out this evening, and then as soon as I get back, I've got a lot more work to make sure the servers can stay up for everyone who wants to play.
오늘 저녁에 바로 다시 복귀하셔가지고 이제 남은 일주일 동안 서버가 안전한지 괜찮은지 모든 유저분들이 즐기실 수 있도록 준비해야만 합니다.
Sounds rough.
바쁜 일정 중에도 와주셔서 너무 감사드리고요. 오늘 함께해주신 유배자분들, 그리고 시청자분들, 그리고 초보라님, 그리고 조나단님 모두 너무 감사드립니다. 저는 진행의 게임어빈이었습니다.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, the whole campaign thing. I think not skipping campaign is fine as long as you had season content in the campaign, right? I mean, I know when I play a new season in PoE, I always look forward to leaving Lion's Eye's Watch. And then you finally bump into the league mechanics, but the league mechanics are also like pretty rough to start off, so that would seem to be pretty dang hard early on to deal with. Okay, so there was one thing I was thinking about when it comes to Flicker, and that is in the ascendancy. Let's see, what is down here? Critical hits ignore non-negative monster elemental resistances. Grants a skill, elemental expression. What does elemental expression do again? Can we find the ascendancies? Oh, they have it on this website. Okay, cool. Scatter them to the winds. It doesn't tell me here. Sweet, thank you. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the official one then. I think did they specify this in the official one? I hope they did. Yeah, they did. Oh yeah, yes. Elemental expression creates a fire explosion. Okay, a fire explosion, arcing bolt, or icy wave. The chance is proportional to your strength. Right, it's strength, dex, and int based. So this is, I mean, it gives you the skill. So I mean, you could, in theory, you could just run default attack. He talked about this when he talked about unarmed attacks in one of the other interviews. And then make sure you have dexterity as the highest, proportional to your strength. Yeah, but the question here is if the actual bolt of lightning or the wire projectiles, if any of these trigger ailments, because apparently it's quite different in PoE 2, like where critical hits, you actually want the critical hits for ailments, and this is specifically crits. So yeah, I wonder if this is good for ailments, because then we might want that. Which is a problem, because we can't get it if we get these. I mean, it would make sense to grab one of them. The problem is then the whole combo thing doesn't work. That is a problem. You can't add this, right? I think you can't add any skills from ascendancies as far as I know. No. Because we don't know what they do really in detail. Because I mean, it would be nice to have this and then, yeah, I mean, go with crits. Which should build when you don't use it. The palm. It's just, there has to be a better way, I feel like, to gain power charges. How quick is shock buildup? I mean, okay, so energy. Energy shield, no. Cast while channeling, cast. No. So there's no support for energy. Is that right? It don't seem like it. We have invocation is really good. We have that one. Then we have all these. When hit, gain 1 energy for each 5 energy lost. Don't I have this one already? Barrier invocation. This is problematic. It's like double the cost. I think we might need that though. I think you get, is it 190 or 160? It's probably 60, isn't it? So you have 160 spirits. I mean, then you have a passive tree and stuff, I guess. So, I mean, could probably solve that somehow. So, yeah, cast on Grim Feast, no. Discipline. What is this? Protective barrier. Wait, is this the same as Witch Hunter? Oh, it's similar to Witch Hunter, it seems like. But that's a skill gem. Okay. AoE physical melee strike. Lightning. Can we do anything else here? So we cast on shock, lightning storm, conduction. I mean, you can do like AoE, right? Area of effects, right? If you want that. So you hit more enemies. Does it refresh the shock? Probably. We're trying to figure out that's, I mean, I think we want this. What else do we want? I feel like there should be an energy thing or something here. Level 22, that's the mark. 10, 16, 26. 42 on his lightning storm. It's gonna be like lightning storm is 42, flicker's 47. So I mean, we're gonna have to use some other skill for quite some time. The question is, what do we use until then? Because I feel like Death's Oath has the same problem, right? Sort of. I mean, this one is level 1, okay. Yeah, Blasphemy is level 10. This is 16. Effigy is 21. Hex Blast is 41. I mean, what about, what's that one? Yes, it's, this is, this one needs something else single target. The problem is, we can't just have a totem and then Hex Blast stuff. So that's annoying. Wait, 41. Yeah, I don't know. Good question. You might have to respec something. Oh, god damn. How much spirit? Okay, I think it's 160. So we have it costs nothing. Huh. 30, 60. Oh, this one is, oh no, that's correct. Yeah, 90, yeah. So 120. And this one costs per socket occurs. And we have 1. So it's 150, is that right? I think that's correct, isn't it? Okay, so this is 150. So what do I use if I don't? Okay, if I have to, if I can't use Hex Blast for single target, what do I use? $41. Contagion. I don't think so. 21, 31, 16, yeah. We got Essence Drain. I mean, ED Contagion is a classic one. So I mean, you could do ED Contagion. It's level 6. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can do both ED Contagion before level 10. So I guess that's what you want to do. Unless you have a bow. I mean, you could go this and go, no, I don't think I want to do that. Probably not. 22, play 18, yeah. Yeah, I imagine I would probably go ED Contagion then. That's what it seems like. Until you can get this stuff. And the Flicker has the same problem. I have no idea what I would use here. Maybe there's a thing with power charges that is not Flicker that you can use. Maybe. Poover. That's power charge, I guess. Needs to have a staff, right? I mean, I guess charge staff. It's still level 21, so it's quite high. Falling Thunder. Yeah, I imagine this is what you have to use. But it's not single target, really. It's more, I mean, it's AoE. Infernal Cry, probably not. I mean, you could go bow. I don't know why I wouldn't, but you can. This is totem, right? No, that's the corpse thing. Siphoning Strike? Oh yeah, this is the power charge. We already have that one. Bone Storm. Interesting. That's a witch thing, I guess. Probably looks like, yeah. Killing Palm. Oh yeah. Can you do the basic attack? What is it called? I have no idea. I don't think it's here, but you can support your basic attack. So I assume they give you the, wait, what are the other ones then? Yeah, it is level 1. Yeah, so they just give you that one. Yeah. So I assume you use your basic attack, and then you use Killing Palm, and then you use the other staff ability, the other one, for the AoE. I think that is pretty much it to use, but I don't feel like, is that even gonna work until you get this going? If your basic attack is that good and you can support it with like gems, then okay, fine. But if you can't, if it sucks, then you have to find some skill that works. Like, can you do, let's see, quarterstaff, Storm Wave, level 22. I had the Sheila one, 31. The charge staff is 21. Okay. Staggering Palm. It's the stun thing. I don't know about that. Yeah, Glacial Cascade 12. You probably use that. Yeah, I think you have to use that. 27. Shattering. Falling Thunder. Okay. This one might be more interesting than the other one, actually. What is this? Oh, it's a leap thing. Also level 1. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Ice Strike. Oh, yeah. Same there. This one has... They don't have the tag for this, but I assume this would work with a combo thing, like support. No? Maybe. It has a final strike, so I think this works with the combo probably. The bell is a different bell. Build combo by successfully striking enemies after building 5. Create a bell. Wait, Tempest Flurry level 12. They're also lightning damage. Frost damage. This is the air thing, isn't it? Yeah. Wind Blast 21. Vaulting 22. Leap forward, slam the ground. Shockwave. Potent against dazed enemies? Okay, how do you daze enemies? I've literally not heard of this. Huh? What? Nothing. Not that, okay, not that we know of, at least. Huh. I like how this doesn't change. Very interesting. Yeah, so that's gonna be problematic. I think, well, I need to update all of them. This one needs to update as well. But I mean, initially you go with the arrow, and then I think I want to transition from arrow, or I think what I'm most likely to do is transition from bow to the flasks. But then we need to make sure we have the right ascendancy points and passives for that. So if you look at apparently the worst one in the game, I mean, you definitely want this and this, and probably more flask charges gained. The problem here is that if I go with this, that's it. Like, this running assault is quite good. I think it's gonna be a huge quality of life. But I don't know if you can go without the flash charge gain. If I can, I'll probably not take this one and then go with running assault, and then try and get that flash charge gain through the normal passive tree instead. Flash charge, I guess. Flash duration and flash charge gained. Lasting concoctions. That is not too bad, actually. Wow, that's pretty damn close. Reduced flash charges used? What? Okay, that's also not that far away. Life flask in, that's not what we want. Yeah, we don't want that. But there's a connected, I mean this one. Yeah, no, I don't want that one. So these are the only ones we know right now. That one is pretty sick. Flask duration and charges, 25%. I assume the small ones here are probably flask charge gain or something. Because there's another one here, notable, below it. So, not sure what that is. Evasion? Yeah, we definitely want stacking toxins as well. So I think this side, I mean, we're gonna go this side obviously, but we really have to look at the passive tree when we go. Like, what do we want initially? I mean, initially I don't think it's that hard, right? But then it's like, I think we want to go this way for poison stuff. Probably. Poison's not elemental, is it? Okay. Oh, that's that one they showed. Oh, yeah. I recognize that one. This one's pretty good, actually. I don't want the mana leech, but if you can recover mana on kill, that would be pretty sick, actually. I mean, if we can mana leech, cool, but I'm not gonna rely on that. I don't think so. I imagine we don't. So, bow, spear, crossbow maybe? This looks like a charge thing. That's a frenzy charge, isn't it? Lightning. That looks like one of those armor health nodes or something. Another bow thing. No, it has to be poison. Am I? Pierce. Okay. Oh, it's Heartstopper. Oh. What about that one? It can't be bro. Oh yeah. That is incorrect. 60% increased effect of poison against enemies that are not poisoned. I think you need low tolerance. I literally think we need this one. I imagine. Mana leech. Yeah, I mean, most of these are not accurate. Like, these are duplicates over here, so I mean, that's pretty stupid. Oh, shit. Man, that was pretty good, yeah. For the flicker build, that is Lust for Power is sick. Stun over here? Oh, it's because of mercenary, isn't it? Probably. And like you said, like it changes depending on which class you play. Like the starting areas change. So, I mean, the nearby areas are also different. So I don't know. We'll see. The game is out tomorrow, which is crazy. I can't wait to play. Sadly, it starts at 8 p.m. my time, which is not great. But I mean, I look forward to playing, and I just hope the build doesn't suck. Oh, I hope the ascendancy isn't bad. People say it's bad, so I guess we'll find out. Life flask. Yeah, I want the mana flask recovery. Is there like a mana? No, mana flask. Nope. Yeah. Not that we know. There's got to be something somewhere. Definitely. Now, I wonder if you can search the passive tree or not. I'm not sure. Like in the actual game. Yeah, I don't know about that. But that would have been sick. Damn, bro. Okay. So, my plan is to... I still think my plan is to play Poison Pathfinder. I want to start with bow. and then I want to make sure I can swap to the ascendancy point where you use flasks instead, because I want to try it out. Basically, I don't know if bow or flask is better or more fun. So I want to try bow and then try flask, and then basically decide which one I like the most. So that's what I'm going to start with, Poison Pathfinder. And then a very sketchy build is Death's Oath as a Chronomancer. This should work, but I mean, none of these are final. I need to move stuff around, but the idea of it should work, because you literally use Blasphemy and then you use this new like spell that deals damage, and you have the new cool totem for chaos damage, so you deal like chaos freeze damage, I guess. You can also go freeze on the poison. So you could look at probably doing a freezing poison build as well. I do want to try this one at some point for sure. We'll see how that works. Flicker, I mean, I think Flicker can be a ton of fun. I'm not gonna play it as my first build. I might do it as my second or third build. We'll see. But I'm not gonna start Flicker, and that will also, I guess I could use watch Mage Fist and see what he comes up with and what he's found when it comes to Flicker, because I guess he's gonna do Monk as well. Do you need to play Monk? Yeah, it requires a staff, right? Yeah, you need a core staff. So that's like one of the skills you can't change, which makes sense. Like, it would be weird if you flicker around like a witch, I guess, but I don't know. It would be hilarious. Yeah, but that's the plan at least. So tomorrow I'll be online. I'll start the stream a bit later tomorrow, because like I said, it's out at 8 p.m. so I'm gonna delay my stream a bit, I think. But I do want to look at more interviews and stuff, so I don't know, I might start at the normal time anyway. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm very excited to play the game and try this build, and then we'll see how it goes, I guess. I just hope, I hope it goes well. We'll see what happens. So yeah, it is sadly time for me to head off for today. But tomorrow the game is out. I'm gonna look at more stuff, plan to build more, and then we're actually gonna play the game. A reminder is they said they would allow pre-loading the game today, so make sure that you check for that, especially if you have like slow internet connection. So I'm gonna check right now after my stream, see if it's available. I have no idea, so I'll just have a look and then make sure the game is ready to go. So, any case, I'm gonna head off, get some stuff done before it gets too late, as always. And then tomorrow I want to watch the DM interview with Gazi. Seems cool. Try and finalize this build, at least this one, and then we'll just play the game. Hopefully not play the Q simulator. It's probably gonna break and we're not gonna get to play at all tomorrow, but we'll see. So knock on wood, right? All right, you guys have a good one. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow.